I recently came across these custom radio buttons, and I thought I'd take a look and see how they're made. So inside the label there's a span and an image using an SVG check icon, and this changes opacity from 0 to 1 depending on whether the radio button is checked or unchecked. So let's see this SVG image. We can't see anything here because the image is white and the background is white. So let's see the page source, and there's quite a bit going on here for something that's so visually simple. So let's copy paste this into an empty pen, and let's see how we can simplify this thing. So let's maximize this, and let's see. So first of all, we don't need this thing, this X-link thing. We can take it out. The version, again, we can take it out. Let's take out the dimensions as well. We can take out this also. And this, the description doesn't say anything. The definitions are empty. Now let's remove these fills here, the none and the white. So let's remove them so we can see the check mark. Stroke width 1 has no point when we're setting stroke none. There's no point in setting it. Fill rule even odd doesn't do anything in this case. These translates, if we add them up, minus 884, 150, 683, that's minus 11. And if we add up the y's, we get minus 48. So we can just replace all these translates with minus 11 minus 48, and it's exactly the same thing. So we can even take this transform from here and put it directly onto the path, and this way we can remove all groups. So we've taken out all groups. Okay, now let's also take out this comment because it doesn't help us with anything. And now let's create another path that would be pretty much the same thing, not exactly the same shape, but very similar and indistinguishable at the size we're using it for the custom radio buttons. See, it's really small there. So something that's really similar and pretty much the same at the small size, and give it opacity 0.5 so we can see the old fluid. And here set some styles. So we're going to have, going to use an attribute selector. So opacity, and we're going to set not there, here. We're going to set fill none, and then we're going to set the stroke red. And now let's actually give it a path. So let's say something like 1.3 because it's 18, and we can divide this into 3. So this is pretty much half of this other, so the left part is pretty much half of the right part, so we can divide it in something like 3, something there, almost. So let's say 5.5, 5.5, and then we're going to go 10 and minus 10 back up. So that's something like that. And next thing, we're going to set a stroke width, and that's going to be 2.3, let's say, and a stroke line cap, which we're going to make it round, and we're also going to set a stroke line join, and this pretty much does it. It's not exactly the same shape, but it's very much the same, and you can't really tell the difference when it's this small. So what we're going to do is remove this. Since we only have one element, just use this universal selector. Remove the opacity. Also change this check icon and replace this red with white. And let's save this as a standalone SVG image, and we're going to use this. So I've forked the whole thing, and let's replace this with my user ID. And let's take this and open it into another tab, and let's see on the source. As you can see, it's a lot smaller this time, and let's see how big it is. So 222 characters, and the original one was 6 times bigger. So yeah, that's quite a difference. So now let's get back to this and see how we're actually going to style all this thing. So first of all, we're going to use this image only once. Here it's used multiple times in the HTML and it's the same thing, but we're only going to use it once in the CSS. So it's going to be icon URL, and set it to the new value. And first of all, let's see about the markup. We're going to use a preprocessor to automatically generate this with a lot less code. So switch, and here we're going to have custom radius, and we're going to have 4 of them, so that's n equal to 4, and here we're going to have a loop. So 4, and we make I start from 0 and go all the way up to n, incrementing at each step. And for each of these, we're going to create an input type radio. We give it the same name for all of them, and the ID is going to depend on I, so we interpolate. And we're also going to set the checked attribute, which is going to be nothing. We're not going to set it, and otherwise it's checked. And then we're going to have, let's take this and move on to the label for, and here we're also going to have which one is it. So this should give us a good structure. Okay, this looks good. And now in the CSS, I'm going to set a color list, which is going to use all these colors. I'm gonna put them into the same okay, not exactly what I was aiming for, but let's fix this. Okay, now let's remove all the places where we were using those colors, so we don't get an error anymore. Now we have no more divs, so let's remove that. We're going to use just type radio, should be enough. And let's remove that display none. We're going to set position absolute and right 100 viewport width, and then we're going to set label, and we're going to set the diameter first of all. Now here we're going to take this margin out of here, we don't need it there. We don't need the width, so I just do it like that. And let's collapse this, and let's set a diameter. So this is going to be 2.5 ems. This should work. And we're going to set width. It's going to be this diameter. The height is going to be the same diameter. let's remove all this stuff. Okay, we could set color transparent. This should work. Okay, and then we're going to set the labels to inline block, and let's see what else we're going to use from here. Border radius and box shadow. We can shorten this. So, okay. What else? We're also going to take the cursor and add it here. We don't need the vertical line, but we are going to use the margin. Okay. Do we need anything else from here? Nope, we don't. We're going to use this transition, but nope, nothing else. So we're going to set a before here, and we're going to use there. We're also going to set a position relative, and here we're going to set position absolute, and we're going to set our top 0, right 0, bottom 0, and then left 0. Okay, and we're also going to set a background. The icon URL. And let's set it to 50%. No repeat. This should work. And let's set opacity 0, and let's collapse this. Let's collapse the label as well, and here we're going to have checked followed by the label with the before, and it's going to be opacity 1. Okay, so the checked one has opacity 1. Okay, now the last thing we need to do is loop through and set the backgrounds. So for I from 0, actually from 1 through length of the color list, and we're going to have nth of type. That's going to be I, and here we're going to have background nth I. So yeah, this is it. It's pretty much the same thing. It looks exactly the same. It's just that we have less Sass code, 47 lines, as opposed to, I don't know, 70 something, and the markup is a lot less, like the markup is a lot less, even the compiled one, and the preprocessor code is even less. So yeah, this is it for today.